A win is a win, a loss is a loss. There is no in between. It's black and white. There is no gray middle rail when it comes to gambling. And you don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. What I mean by that, if you happen to visit my website today, I go into detail on this latest DeMarco theory, and it's one that I've maintained for many, many years, is simply this. The first 6.5, 7 weeks of the NBA playoffs, I made a fortune, and my clients did as well. And I was really in tune with the teams. But the NBA Finals, I knew going into the Finals there was going to be a problem. Because one of the teams, the Golden State Warriors, I think I only had 2 plays through the first 3 rounds of the playoffs involving the Warriors, because this is a team that perplexed me all during the regular season. Their inability to cover as a double-digit favorite. Their inability to win me a game. Listen, you don't have to smack me over the head that many times to make me realize that there are some teams that I just can't get a handle on. So consequently, the first 2 NBA final games, I gave you complimentary plays on games 1 and 2. I gave you some brilliant analysis. I mean, it was really good. Of course, I lost both of those free picks, right? Giving you the Cavs in games 1 and game 2. So, game 3 tonight. Guess what? I don't care. I'm going back to baseball because that money I won in the NBA Finals, it doesn't matter, because here, or in the NBA playoffs up to the finals, it doesn't matter because they don't pay you any more when you go to cash a winning ticket for basketball than they do for baseball. Unless, of course, you're like me and you cashed another winning baseball ticket last night and you had the Cubs as a $1.15 run line underdog. Oh, yeah. And for the way I've been cashing in with baseball over the past 3.5 weeks, why would I not again go back to baseball where the pickings have been easy? Again, you don't have to prove to be the smartest guy in the room. You just have to cash a winning ticket. So I'm going to break down game number 3 for you here and take it with a grain of salt. Listen, I was pretty much on target in game number 2. I told you that I thought that the Cavaliers were going to come out and accelerate the pace of the game. And that's exactly what they did. And you saw for the first half, they were right there. They were right in that game. But the storm clouds were brewing. I watched that first half and I thought to myself, they cannot maintain this pace for the entire game. And you knew that sooner or later, the Warriors were going to have that surge. And they did for the second straight game in that third quarter. And once the Warriors had that little surge, that little jump, suddenly it was a double-digit lead for Golden State, and it was game, set, match. And there was nothing the Cavaliers could do for it. And then after the fact, if you look at the box score, and if I had told you going into that game that LeBron would have his 29 points, 11 rebounds, and 14 assists, and that Kevin Love would have 27 points and 7 rebounds, and that Kyrie Irving would have 19 points and 7 assists, you would say, well, it was probably going to be a close game. Problem is, they got nothing from anybody else. Again, Tristan Thompson, he did better than his 0-point performance in game number 1. He had 8 points, but only 4 rebounds. But you look at all the complementary players, the role players, and the Cavaliers, again, got nothing. J.R. Smith, who I think is 1 year past from being washed up, 0 points. J.R. Smith hasn't provided steady offense to the Cavaliers for well over a season and a half. And as a defensive stopper, his days are long past. I don't know why Ty Lue isn't going with Amon Shumpert more. He played him 22 minutes off the bench, but I think for the Cavaliers to have any shot of containing Steph Curry, they've got to put Shumpert in there and play him extensively. And then you look at the rest of the bench. Deron Williams, 14 minutes, 0 points, great contribution. They went out and get Kyle Korver. Kyle Korver is a guy who is not going to be able to create his own shots. And he is more suited to either, running on the break and being fed the ball and stopping and popping, or you got to play him in a half-court set. And that's not what they were doing in game number 2. He is not going to be able to manufacture his own shot. 2 for 4, 1 for 3 from three-point range, and 8 points, which is probably one of his most productive games of the whole damn postseason. He has been struggling the entire, postseason and probably the last 4 weeks of the regular season. They being the Cavaliers, aren't getting any contributions. And then you look at Golden State and the depth that they have and what they're rolling out. But you got Cleveland playing at home. And this is going to be the Cavaliers' last hurrah. And yeah, you're going to hear all the stories and the commentators and the pundits on TV all are going to say, hey, the Cavaliers were in this position a year ago. They were down 2-0 and you saw what they did. Oh, yeah. And Golden State didn't have that guy Durant playing for them. And Golden State didn't have 100% healthy Steph Curry. And Golden State didn't have Draymond Green playing normal, like a sane guy. You know, not like a fire hydrant ready to explode. No. Different team that they're playing this year. But here's the way I would play this game here this evening. I think the best shot to play this game is to take Cleveland in the first half at Pick'em, because I think the Cavaliers are going to ride the momentum and take that excitement and the energy and feed off the cue tonight, and they're going to come out guns a-blazing. And then they're going to fall in the second half, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the Warriors win the game. But, again, in the first half, Pick'em game, I like Cleveland in the first half. The total, you know, I've gone back and forth here on the total. As I told you in game number 2, I thought Cleveland would come out and accelerate the pace. And by meaning that they would push the ball down the floor, and you saw they had LeBron James basically playing point forward for most of the first half in that game, and they had that ball over the midcourt line in 6 seconds, and they got into their offensive set immediately, and they were driving the lane relentlessly, because the last thing you want Golden State to do is to set up defensively, because that makes them so difficult. Because without a team without rim protectors like Golden State is, they are very effective nonetheless defensively, because they're such a quick athletic team. That's what makes them able to compensate for not having the size. But I just don't think Cleveland is going to accelerate that pace again here tonight. So I lean a little toward the under. So here's the 3 ways I would consider this game tonight. I think Cleveland in the first half is the way I would play that game. If you put me in a corner and put a gun to my head, I would say Cleveland in the first half would be the bet that I would make tonight. The second play I would make would be the game to stay under the total of 227. And the third play, I think the Warriors are going to cover the spread and win the damn game outright. That's the 3 ways I would look at playing tonight's game. But the official free play, ladies and gentlemen, as we get into that phony 1960s DJ voice, or maybe I'd be doing, would we be doing a TV game show? Yes, come on down. You've won at a man of radar range. Okay, we move on. Would be the Cavaliers in the first half. Okay, we continue. Let's take a look at the Arizona Diamondbacks on the run line. Zach Greinke is back. You know, Greinke now resembles, he's a different pitcher, but he resembles the guy that was so dominant for the Dodgers before Arizona gave him the big bucks, and he failed so miserably last year in his debut for the D-backs. He's relying more on the slider, but he's still punching out almost the same number of guys on average per 9 innings. He's coming off an excellent game at Miami, and he hasn't pitched nearly as well on the road as he has at Chase Field. 7 innings, 4 hit, 2 runs, 8 strikeouts. He's 5-0 at home this season in 7 starts in Phoenix with a 2.49 earned run average in 47 innings. He's allowed only 32 hits and held opposing teams to a 192 batting average. And in those 47 innings, he's punched out 61 batters. And here's a statistical anomaly. In those 47 innings, he's walked 8 batters, and he's given up 8 home runs. Go figure, right? He's always done exceptionally well against the Padres. He's made 2 starts against them this year. He's fanned 17 batters in 14 innings. The past 3 years, he's made 11 starts against San Diego, pitching for Arizona and the Dodgers, going 5-1 in those 11 starts with a 2.13 earned run average, and lifetime against the Padres, a 1.92 earned run average, a 9-2 record in 18 lifetime starts. The Padres struggling. They're 10-20 on the road. Arizona, on the other hand, by virtue of last night's 10-2 rout, now 22-8 at Chase Field. A really cool ballpark if you ever get a chance to go to it. As a matter of fact, if you get to go to Chase Field, I also recommend a little down the road from Chase Field, actually across the street from where the Suns play, which is what used to be called U.S. Airways Arena, I can't remember what it's called now, is Alice Cooperstown. Alice Cooperstown, owned in conjunction by Alice Cooper, Randy Johnson, Alice Cooperstown. Great little restaurant, Alice Cooper, lots of memorabilia in there. They have the big unit which is like this 18-inch hot dog that is topped with all this junk that I would never come close to eating. Hell, I wouldn't even eat the hot dog. And if you can polish it off in 30 minutes, it's free. So, they ring the bell when somebody gets served the big unit and stuff. Good food. Really cool place, neat little place to go eat. So I recommend it. A lot of nights they have bands playing out in the courtyard. Of course, in the middle of summer in Phoenix, you may not want to be sitting out in the courtyard, even though I do think they have misters. But anyway, Alice Cooperstown, really cool place to go if you happen to be down in the downtown Phoenix area. There's a lot of restaurants as well down around the Chase Field area as well. But I would definitely recommend going to Alice Cooperstown. So there's your endorsement for going downtown Phoenix. I've been there many, many times. So anyway, that's your complimentary play going with Arizona plus the $1.05 on the run line tonight. Obviously, you've got to play the Diamondbacks on the run line for your other complimentary play. Wish you well, guys. I'll talk to you again tomorrow when we do this one more time.